Okay, I had a friend back in Pleasant Grove growing up, and this guy swore up and down that he was the best barbecue maker to ever come out of Pleasant Grove. He would oftentimes criticize other people who tried to learn how to barbecue or just tried to learn how to cook. One day he even ate somebody's food and got sick, and that was the final straw. He said, "Man, I'm gonna go ahead and learn how to cook for real." He asked a couple of his teachers at school how he could become a cook, or at least take a couple of cooking classes. So that's exactly what he did. He enrolled in a couple of cooking classes just to see if he liked it. He found that he really enjoyed the cooking class and ended up enrolling in culinary arts. Now he is a chef. Now, how does this story relate to a math problem? We're going to talk about how much dedication he had to put in to become a chef. Let's talk about how many days he had to take classes per month. A restaurant offered cooking classes on 24 of the 30 days in November. What is the decimal equivalent to the fraction of the days in November that classes were offered at the restaurant? Okay, let's annotate. We'll use our cube strategy. We'll start off by circling important numbers. 24 and 30. Next, we will underline the question. What is the decimal equivalent to the fraction of days in November that classes were offered at the restaurant? Now, let's box in keywords. I would box in classes to represent 24 classes, days to represent 30 days, and they asked us to write our answer as a decimal that's equivalent to the fraction. Let's get started showing our work. Now, what is the question asking? The question is asking converting a fraction to a decimal. Well, how do we convert a fraction to a decimal? We simply divide. We put the top dog in the house, bottom dog outside. Now, to use mathematical terms, we'll put our numerator inside and our denominator on the outside, and we'll just normally divide. Now, the word equivalent also can mean same or equal to. So 30% is the same as 3 over 10. 3 over 10 is equal to 3/10. And 3/10 is equivalent to 30%. Now let's look at our fraction decimal percent triangle. This triangle is meant to show us what operation to use. So we're converting a fraction to a decimal. We will be divided. Now here's our instructions for the problem. We're going to write a ratio as a fraction, simplify the fraction to the simplest form, write fractions as a decimal, and then write our answer in the griddle. Now let's just take a quick review of what a ratio is. Today we will be comparing classes to days. A ratio is just simply a comparison. Now, a ratio is a comparison of two amounts that can be expressed in three ways. We can use the colon, we can use the verbal way, or we can put it as a fraction. Now, equivalent ratios are ratios that have the same value. 1 to 2 has the same value as 2 to 4. When we simplify 2 to 4, we'll be left with 1 to 2. This is what makes them equivalent. Once again, Ratios can be expressed in words. Ratios can be expressed using the colon symbol, and today we will represent a ratio using the fraction notation. Classes today's, we have 24 classes over 30 days. We have just took our ratio and set it up as a fraction. Now I want to simplify my ratio, or I want to simplify my fraction. Now the way we do that is canceling our fractions. We'll divide the top and the bottom of the fraction by the same number to get the fraction in its simplest form. For example, 15 over 20, if we divide top and bottom by 5, we'll be left with 3/4. 3/4 is the simplest form of 15 over 20. Now for our problem, I am going to divide top and bottom by 6. And this gives us our simplest form, 4 over 5. Now we need to convert the fraction to a decimal. When we convert a fraction to a decimal, we'll divide the numerator by the denominator. The little dog in the house, big dog outside. Once again, our little dog is our numerator, our big dog is our denominator. So 4/5 as a decimal, we'll divide the numerator by the denominator. We notice that 5 cannot go into 4, so we'll have our answer will be written as a decimal. So we know that 5 can go into 40 8 times, and in our answer we'll have a 1 decimal place in our answer. Now let's write this answer on the griddable. Now when writing answers on the griddable, you have to pay attention to your place value. We had a place value 1 place to the right of the decimal. This is our 10th spot in our place value. So that's exactly where I'm going to put my 8, and now it is represented as 8/10. I will circle in the corresponding number, and please do not forget to make sure that your answer is recorded as a positive answer. Now let's just check over our work real quick. My expectation for students today is to write a ratio as a fraction, simplify the fraction to the simplest form, write the fraction as a decimal, and then write the answer in the griddable. Y'all, please make sure you answer the questions below, and I will see you at the We Do portion. Thank you. Have a good day.
This ship's in shrimp boil.